So today I'm going to show you how to plant a succulent cactus container garden. I didn't have any gloves on hand, so I'm using my husband's gloves. So whatever you have on hand at home will be fine. You can also use newspaper, and you can wrap the plant around the cactus. When you want to, if you don't have gloves, you can easily wrap this as well, and you can wrap the cactus. So the first thing you want to do is you want to cover the hole. I normally put a window mesh screen, but you can use anything you have on hand that will still allow the water to drain through. This will still allow the water to drain through because it has holes through it. So it's kind of like a mesh that I have here. Then you add a succulent and cactus mix that contains no peat moss because peat moss is too acidic. So you want to use a mix that has plenty of drainage. So I'm going to put about a little layer, 1/4 on the bottom. The first thing I do is I squeeze the pot to get rid of as much soil to loosen it. Now this one was kind of already pre-loosened for me. I took this out already, and I'm going to use the base again to help make it easier to remove the plant. Now it looks like there's a little bit need for more soil, so I'm going to add a little more soil to make it more leveled, and so that the succulents and the cacti are planted well. So I'm going to add this beautiful mammillaria, also known as a flowering queen, and add more soil around it. Don't worry about getting messy. When you are gardening or doing any planting, you're bound to make a lot of mess, but you'll end up with a really beautiful succulent cactus container garden in the end. So add more soil around it. Now, if you don't have gloves like I have, it doesn't have to be, again, this thick. It can be a little bit thinner. You can use newspaper, wrap it around the cactus, and then pull very gently. And then you have this, you don't have thorns on your hands, but you can still use the newspaper to help protect your hands and still be able to plant the cactus. So add a little more soil. Once you get it positioned, you can easily remove the paper and then continue planting. So I'm going to add a little more soil around it. Again, there's no real way to design a cactus and succulent container garden. It's based on your preference. Again, I'm doing this based on if it's sitting on a table where you can see it from all directions. Okay, and this one is a beautiful blooming yellow. This is a beautiful cactus that's showing yellow blossoms and has more buds as well that will bloom later, probably next week. And I'm going to again loosen the pot, make it easier for me to take out the cactus. Remove the cactus at its base where it has the least amount of thorns, and then gently pull it out. Sometimes I remove the soil if it can't fit into the container. But I'm going to dig a little bit deeper hole and see if I can set that in there. Again, you want to position this. This flower is about to finish blooming anyway, but I will try to put it at the edge so you can see it, and then the other blooms will be able to appear in the back. Okay. I'm trying to give a little more space here so I can put the last plant, which is this beautiful succulent that, again, is more drought tolerant than the other succulents that we normally would use with other succulents. So this is a great plant to have that you want to use with other cacti. And it's interesting thing I wanted to show you was this is actual plant. This is an offset that's growing on top of a blossom. This is the white flower, and this is the little baby or offset. So it's quite unusual to see that along with the flower. So I thought that'd be fun for you to see, and then I picked that on purpose so that you can see both the plant and the flower together. So here I'm going to loosen the soil a little bit more. It's just a little bit more soil than I want. So I'm gonna loosen that a little bit more. Now for this, I'm actually not going to use the gloves because I don't need that right now for this succulent. Like I said, it's gonna be messy. That's what happens when you garden. You're gonna have a lot of mess, but it's quite rewarding in the end to see a beautiful container, succulent container garden as your reward, and then the mess is easy to clean up. Okay. So gather a little more soil, put that more around it. Okay. Again, this flower is probably going to be blooming maybe for the next couple more days. It'll dry up and drop off on its own, or you can remove it. But anyway, what a beautiful flower that is to complement our container garden. Now, let me clean a little bit of this mess so that you get to, I have a little more room to finally add my top dressing. Now, one of the things I want to show you is that I have this nice little pink rock as an accessory, and then this is optional. You can put it anywhere you want, or you don't need to use it. I just thought it'd be a nice little touch to add. Now, it might be a little large for this, but we'll see if we can fit that. Okay, so let's add our top dressing. Now, there's different kinds of top dressing that you can put on. I don't have my favorite one I really love is called Coral Sea, and this is what the Coral Sea looks like. That is called Coral Sea. And normally I use that for this kind of, with cacti, because I think it looks more natural. But I do have sand, which is kind of like adds to like the desert theme. So we can add sand on top. Okay. Just put that, a very thin layer all the way around it. And sometimes sand is used to help stabilize the plants after you plant them. And then you can add some top dressing. Let's just add that easier like this here. Continue adding more of the top dressing. Now, you can also use a little funnel to help get into those nooks and crannies. Right now I'm just using, just putting a thin layer just for demonstration purposes, and then that will still look very beautiful. Now, normally I would water this about once a week if it's kept outside. You can also keep this indoors as well, but near a bright sunny window, preferably south facing or west facing, and then water it about once or twice a month. So this is a very natural looking top dressing, and you can choose whatever color you like. That's for your preference. So this is one way to make a container garden using both succulents as well as cacti. So instead of actually adding these different kinds of top dressing. You can see that by changing the top dressing, it can change the overall look. This is one of my favorite ones that I like to use besides the coral sea. This is called a purple garnet, and that can totally change the look of this beautiful succulent container garden. So what I'm going to do is show you give you this idea, is see how this looks with just the sand, and then we're going to add our purple garnet, and then you can see a totally different look. Now the sand is fine. I'm not going to remove the sand because I think that helps further stabilize the plants, because after we water them, then the top dressing will settle down. The one on top, the purple garnet, will settle down even further. So I'm not going to remove the sand. I'm just going to put that right on top. Oh, there you go. There's that beautiful yellow flower I was able to get it upright so you can see how beautiful that looks while it's in bloom. I'm just adding more of this beautiful purple garnet all the way around as much as possible. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. The beauty of itself is just the fact that all of these cacti and succulents look great together, and you have a beautiful container garden that you can give away as a gift. So the last thing I would do after I finish making container gardens, I usually just spray it a bit to keep it more stable. You know, this is not considered watering. This is just keeping it fresh and stable after you plant it. Actual watering is when you water, you have to water around it, and you actually pour water until it fully drains through the hole. And again, I do this once a week if it's outside, or about once or twice a month inside. You always wait for the soil to be completely dry before you water again. Okay. So thank you for watching my video on how to make a container garden using succulents and cacti. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. See you again soon.